Hi, I'm Jenny Miller of Let's Get Sewing. Are you ready to take the fear and frustration out of your sewing experience and finally get sewing? Then you're in the right place. Be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any of my tips and tutorials. And check out the caption too. There's a link to my website where you can find out more about my course, Conquer Your Sewing Machine, and future courses that I have coming. And now, let's get sewing. Today we are going to talk about pressing your fabric. Pressing is different from ironing, and I'm going to show you what the difference is, and then I want to show you why it's so important to press your fabric when you're sewing. So let's go over to my ironing board and I will show you what I'm talking about. Ironing is gliding the iron over the fabric to get the wrinkles out. You do this maybe before you sew or after you've done your laundry. So after I have stitched my seam, the first thing I want to do is to embed those stitches in the fabric. And so to do that, I am going to take my iron and I have it, this is cotton, so I have it on the highest heat setting. I almost always have it on the highest heat setting. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I like lots of steam. And so rather than move the iron around like I was ironing this, I'm going to set it here in place and just give that seam a few blasts of steam. That is going to embed the stitches into the fabric, help them sink down in there and really kind of mesh more with the fabric and make a stronger seam. So that's the first step. Then I want to iron my seam open, because if I just put a seam like this, it looks okay, but you can see here it's very rounded, and we want a nice crisp seam to get a professional look. So I am going to open up the seam allowance, making sure that everything is laying flat, and then again I am going to take my iron and we're going to set it on there, and with lots of steam, give it a good press. Then I would lift it and move to the next spot, lift it and move to the next spot. I don't want to iron like this because then I'm doing pushing and pulling on that seam and not getting as nice of a finish. But once I have pressed it, you almost can't see the seam here in the fabric, and that gives us a much more professional, smooth look and a better fit on the body. Now, I mentioned that I like to have my iron always on the highest heat, but if I'm working with a fabric that is delicate or is a synthetic and can't take that kind of heat, my uh, solution is to use a pressing cloth. This is just a piece of an old pillowcase that I cut up. It's cotton and it works perfectly. Some people prefer a silk one, but I like my cotton one. I would just lay it down on top of the fabric that I need to press, and then I can go ahead and give it lots of steam. That steam is going to go through my pressing cloth and do the pressing that I need on the other side without damaging the fabric that's underneath. So just to review, ironing is when we're trying to get the wrinkles out of fabric and we're going back and forth. When we're pressing, we are wanting to kind of cement or crease the fabric in place. And so we're just going to set it there and give it shots of steam. If the fabric is a delicate fabric, you can still use your iron on the highest setting with lots of steam. Just be sure to put a pressing cloth down to cover that up. So I hope that that helps you understand how to press your fabric as you go. Pressing is an essential part of getting a professional look in any project that you're working on. Remember to press using lots of steam, holding your iron in place, and then picking it up and setting it down again in the next spot to get a good crease and a professional look on all of your projects. Thank you for joining me today. My goal is to take the frustration out of your sewing experience, and so I hope my tips are helpful. Feel free to comment with any questions or ideas you may have. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, let's get sewing.